Nintendo has always been a company that has always brought a lot of smiles to everyone's faces, including myself. But I'm not really a big fan of what they have done over the past 4 to 5 years, given the launch of the Switch that has become so successful nowadays. But, and I do love that console though. Don't get me wrong, I love that console. It's the best thing that's ever happened. But if there's one thing that I believe that should not be going on, and that should not be a trend as of this date, is stop releasing so many ports, please. Oh my god. Like, it has not been apparent enough. I plan on making this video for quite a while now, and I know it's not all the ports that I'm going to be talking about, because if I talked about all the ports, I would be here all day, because it's not really what I want to do. But I'm talking about the majority of ports that really just don't particularly pique my interest at all, because I think these ports deserve to be called out and deserve to be spoken on why these are really bad ports to begin with the Switch. The first point I want to make is that these ports do not really have any value to them, and I'll tell you why. Basically, for me, it's just when you are hyped, or when you are excited for a game that comes out, or when or so, like, you're excited for this new Nintendo Switch game that comes out, and you you think like, oh yeah, it's a new Switch game, but in reality, it's a port. It's a port of a Wii U game that came out maybe 6 to 8 years ago, maybe. And um and to me it feels like, what's the point of even getting it? Because it's the same game that you paid for maybe about 6 to 8 years ago, honestly, because it's nothing new, it's nothing special. It's basically the same game that you're getting again, but just on a different system. What mystifies me the most about all this is that Nintendo could promote the game and could get fans excited about this game, and they think they are gonna do good with that. But in reality, what the fans are not realizing is that they are getting the same experience that they had when when the Nintendo Wii U, Nintendo's newest console. So you're not getting anything new here. You're getting something old, but on a new console. Now, another point I want to make is that most of these so-called ports, they they don't they add minimal new content to these games. And I'll tell you an example of one. Now, I use this example for quite a lot of lines that I did here, so I'll make this really quick. So we'll do New Super Mario Bros. U as an example. I use that a lot. So in the game, there's a new playable character, Toadette. Um, and there's a new power up that's added with the new character, and all that does is it turns Toadette into Princess Peach, and you get her abilities, and that is the only thing that is in the game. And all I gotta say about that is, give me a break with that. Like, are you kidding me? Like, is that the new content you're gonna give me? Is that the new content that you're gonna give gamers? Really? And I find this kind of peculiar for a couple reasons. Number one is just, what's the point? What's the point of this? What's the point of having this new character, this new power up, if you're not gonna do anything with it other than just do nothing with it and not provide anything to the base game itself? Which I think is pretty lazy, honestly, and it's not really a good thing to do. And in my eyes, it just seems like they don't care about the game at all. What's even more frustrating is that they make a profit off of this, which which in terms they do that by enticing the fans, by getting them excited, pumped up for this new game. Sorry about my nose. Um, they entice them by getting them pumped up about this game, and 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 what the fans don't realize is that they're getting the same game that they got on a different system many years prior to it, and they're getting the same experience, and they're getting the same thing that they got, but just on a different new console, which to me is to me like, what's the point of this if you're not gonna add new things, if you're not gonna add new features to it? And it's just, why? What's the point? There's another point I want to bring up. Another point I want to bring up is Nintendo is kind of using these ports to kind of cash grab off of the sales of the Switch, which is which means profiting off of the sales of the Nintendo Switch, which means that they are they're essentially using this system as kind of like a cash grab for people who are looking to buy the game, essentially. Um, which which means that if people buy the game and if people buy it for the Switch, it will mean more money in Nintendo's pocket, essentially. To me, it feels like these ports are just there to get fans excited, and they're lazily made in order for people to continue buying, even if the game they are releasing was there prior to the Switch's launch, which was the Wii U. Even though, more surprisingly, that most of these Wii U ports are almost 7+ years old at this point. So there's no reason why these ports, some of them, which I'm talking specifically about the Wii U and Wii ports, and I don't understand why these are considered new. These are not considered new. These are considered old, just on a different console. The biggest thing that I have a problem with these Nintendo Switch ports is that they charge them at $60. And I am talking specifically about the ports that I have discussed in previous lines. But I say this is not good at all in many retrospects because number one, it's not nothing new. Number two, there's no need for a price like that. If there was a price that I would say I would give to these ports, it would be maybe at max maybe 30 dollars, 30 20, or at max maybe 40, 45 if lucky. But um but I would say maybe 20 to 40, $45 would be more than sufficient for a game like this, for a game like for a game that's been ported over to a new console. Like if it's like for example, let's take a PlayStation game, and let's say we are going to port it over to the Switch, right? There's no reason why it should be $60, okay? It should be maybe like half the price of that. That's what I think, and that's what I believe I believe to be true. Because there's no need for for $60 for $60 ports, because there's nothing new. There's nothing different about it. There's no differences between it. So other than the visuals, but that's kind of it.